In the quaint embrace of a small coastal village, I, James, have lived my whole life. The village, known for its serene beaches and the rhythmic lapping of the waves, has always been a place of simple pleasures and unassuming people. My own pleasure, though not quite as simple, comes from drumming. From a young age, I was enchanted by the sound of drums, the way they could command an atmosphere and stir the soul. But despite my passion and relentless practice, skill eluded me. Day after day, I'd sit by the seashore, drumsticks in hand, attempting to coax music from my modest drum set. The villagers were kind. They'd often say, "Keep at it, James, you're getting better." But I knew the truth. I wasn't getting better, or at least not fast enough to match the dreams that burned in my heart. I dreamed of being a legendary drummer, not just in my village, but across the world, where my rhythms could touch the hearts of millions. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in strokes of orange and pink, I sat by the water's edge, my drumming frustrations mounting. The sea seemed to sympathize, its waves more tumultuous, reflecting the turmoil inside me. That's when I saw her, Mika. She emerged from the surf, the setting sun casting halos around her. Mika was unlike anyone I had ever seen. Her skin shimmered like the surface of the sea under a full moon, and her eyes, oh, her eyes, they were like deep ocean whirlpools, pulling me into depths I dared not imagine. Her hair flowed around her like the water itself was part of her being. "James," she called out, her voice melodic, as if woven from the sounds of the ocean itself. Startled, I nearly fell backward. "How do you know my name?" I managed to stutter. She smiled, a movement that seemed to make the very air around her shimmer. "I know many things, James. I know of your dreams, your struggles, and your deepest desires." Her knowledge of my innermost wishes both intrigued and unnerved me. "What do you want from me?" I asked, gripping my drumsticks tighter. Mika moved closer, the water parting around her effortlessly. "I've come to offer you a deal," she said, her gaze locking with mine, pulling me deeper into her enchantment. "I can make you the greatest drummer in history, but everything comes with a price, and my price is steep." "What price?" My voice was a whisper, almost drowned out by the sea. "Your soul," she replied simply, as if asking for something as trivial as a seashell. My heart pounded. The greatest drummer in history. Was it worth my soul? The turmoil of my desires clashed with the fear of her terms, yet the temptation dangled before me, glittering and irresistible, like the lure of the sea. "Think carefully, James," Micah said, as she prepared to return to the depths. "I'll be here tomorrow night. Give me your answer then." She disappeared beneath the waves, leaving me alone with the echo of her words and a choice that could change my life forever. The drums before me sat silent, waiting for a rhythm that would either seal my fate or break my heart. That night, after meeting Mika, sleep eluded me. The offer she made played over and over in my mind like a relentless drumbeat, tempting me with visions of packed concert halls and standing ovations. My current life, filled with unmet dreams and the monotony of mediocrity, weighed heavily against the dazzling promise of greatness. By dawn, my decision was made. I wanted that greatness, no matter the cost. The following evening, I returned to the shore, the decision churning inside me like the restless sea. Mika was already there, waiting, her presence as mesmerizing as the tide under the moonlight. "I've made my choice," I said, my voice steadier than I felt. "I accept your offer." Mika's lips curled into a knowing smile. "Are you prepared to pay the price, James?" "Yes," I answered, the word escaping like the final note of a long-held symphony. With a graceful movement, Mika reached out and touched my forehead. A surge of energy coursed through me like electricity igniting my veins. It was exhilarating and terrifying. As she withdrew her hand, she spoke. "Remember, every gift has its price." Her words echoed in the air as she faded back into the sea, leaving a lingering mist that soon dissolved with her departure. Almost immediately, I felt a transformation within me. My hands moved with newfound precision and speed, striking the drums with rhythms I hadn't known I was capable of. The sounds were rich, vibrant, and utterly captivating. I was no longer a mediocre drummer. I was becoming the legend Micah promised. Word of my remarkable talent spread like wildfire. Soon, I was performing in local taverns where the crowds swelled from dozens to hundreds. My performances were not just heard, they were felt. Each beat of the drum resonated with the audience, drawing them into a collective trance of rhythm and euphoria. As my fame grew, so did the venues. From taverns, I moved to concert halls and then to stadiums. People traveled from distant lands to witness my performances. Each show sold out long before the doors opened. Yet, amidst this whirlwind of success, a gnawing emptiness began to grow inside me. At first, I dismissed it as exhaustion, a natural outcome of my packed schedule and the relentless demand for my performances. But deep down, I knew it was something more, something darker. Each beat of the drum, while it filled the air with power, seemed to drain something vital from me. It was as if with every performance, a piece of my essence was being chipped away, lost in the echoes of the applause that followed. This emptiness was a stark contrast to the adulation and admiration that surrounded me. It was a private darkness, a silent void that grew with each encore and standing ovation. Yet I couldn't stop. The lure of the drum, now infused with Micah's magic, was irresistible. I was caught in a cycle, spinning faster toward a destiny that I had chosen but could no longer control. The drums called to me, and I answered, unaware of how much of myself was left to give and how much more the drums would take. At the zenith of my fame, my life became a whirlwind of tours, applause, and ceaseless adulation. My name, once whispered among the salty breezes of my small coastal village, now echoed through grand halls and stadiums across the world. The beats of my drum, once humble and faltering, now shook the heavens and silenced the stars. It was more than I ever dreamed, yet beneath the surface, the cost of my bargain with Micah began to reveal itself with chilling clarity. As my international fame solidified, my performances became not just musical events, but spectacles described as divine. Critics and fans alike used words like ethereal and transcendent to describe the experience. However, amidst this global recognition, unsettling changes started to manifest. Each time I looked in the mirror, the reflection staring back at me seemed less and less like the James I knew. My eyes, once lively and spirited, now appeared hollow, as if the light within them was gradually being extinguished. Nightmares began to haunt my sleep, vivid, terrifying dreams where I was losing myself in a sea of faceless crowds, each beat of my drum pulling me deeper into an abyss from which there was no return. I would wake up in cold sweats, the echoes of my own drum beats ringing in my ears, a reminder of the deal that granted me everything and took even more. Driven by a mix of fear and a desperate need to conclude my own story on my terms, I decided to announce my final performance. It would be the grandest of all, held in the largest stadium in the world. The announcement sent waves of excitement across the globe, and tickets sold out in minutes. The anticipation was palpable, a mixture of eagerness and the somber realization that this would be the last time the world would witness my artistry. The night of the final performance arrived, a clear, starlit evening where the air itself seemed charged with anticipation. The stadium was packed, a sea of faces waiting in darkness, their breaths held in a collective pause. As I took the stage, a hush fell over the crowd. My heart, heavy with the knowledge of what was to come, beat in sync with the quiet before the storm. With a deep breath, I began to play. The drumsticks felt like extensions of my own limbs, and as I played, it was as if I was channeling the very essence of life through my music. The beats were powerful, almost supernatural, bending the very fabric of reality. The crowd was mesmerized, caught in the throes of something beyond mere music. It was an experience that transcended time and space. As the performance reached its climax, the intensity of the drum beats filled the stadium with a sound so profound that it seemed to silence the world outside. And then, as the final note rang out, a note that seemed to linger in the air like the fading light of a star, I felt a sudden release. My soul, the price of my years of miraculous drumming, was finally claimed. I collapsed on the stage, my body overwhelmed and exhausted. As the lights dimmed and the crowd's roaring applause faded into a haunting silence, I vanished, leaving behind only my drumsticks on the empty stage. These instruments, once simple wood and metal, now stood as the last remnants of my legacy, a legacy marked by unearthly talent and the ultimate sacrifice. Mika, the enigmatic mermaid whose bargain set me on this path, watched from the shadows, her promise fulfilled. The legend of James, the drummer whose beats could shake the heavens, would endure, a tale of warning and wonder that would echo through the ages. In the aftermath of my vanishing, the small coastal village where my journey began was shrouded in a profound silence, the kind that speaks louder than any words. The villagers, who once celebrated my rising fame, now mourned the loss of one of their own. The taverns where I first honed my craft held vigils, and the shore where I met Mika became a place of quiet reflection. My story, woven into the fabric of the village, became a legend, a cautionary tale of ambition, sacrifice, and the seductive lure of greatness at any cost. My drumsticks, the very instruments that carried my soul's rhythms to the world, were carefully preserved. Encased in glass in the village museum, they stood as a stark reminder of the deal that changed my destiny. Parents brought their children, pointing to the drumsticks and recounting my tale, urging them to cherish their gifts, but to never lose sight of who they were in the quest for greatness. As the years turned into decades, my story was passed down through generations. It was told not just in my village, but wherever music was cherished. It became a tale of warning about the dangers of external validation and the profound cost of sacrificing one's essence for fleeting glory. Amid these reflections on integrity and the value of staying true to oneself, a new chapter began to unfold. One rainy afternoon, a young aspiring musician, drawn by the legend of the legendary drummer whose beats once shook the heavens, visited the village museum. Standing before the glass case that held my drumsticks, the young musician felt an inexplicable pull. Driven by curiosity and the resonant power of the story, the musician reached out the moment the caretaker accidentally left the case unlocked. Upon touching the drumsticks, a shiver ran through the room, and the air seemed to hum with a whispering voice. It was Micah's voice, as enchanting and dangerous as ever, offering another bargain, hinting at greatness beyond imagination. The young musicians stood frozen, the drumsticks vibrating with potential in their hands. In that moment, the cycle of temptation began anew. It was a stark reminder that the allure of ambition and the promise of extraordinary gifts are ever present, testing the boundaries of one's integrity and the strength of their convictions. The tale of my life and its conclusion served as a beacon, a lighthouse guiding those driven by similar desires to navigate the treacherous waters of their ambitions. And as Mika's whispers filled the museum, it became clear that the struggle between ambition and integrity is eternal, a fundamental aspect of the human condition that every generation must face. Thus, my legacy lived on, not just as a tale of what was lost, but also as a reminder of what must continually be guarded, the essence of one's true self in the face of tempting but perilous shores. In the years that followed, the legend of James, the drummer whose soul-stirring beats once commanded the very essence of the universe, grew into something far greater than just a story of a man and his music. It became a timeless parable, etched into the consciousness of those who sought to tread the delicate line between ambition and moral integrity. The village, once a simple coastal community, transformed into a place of pilgrimage for musicians and dreamers from around the world. They came not only to see the preserved drumsticks that had played such mesmerizing rhythms, but also to soak in the spirit of a place that had birthed a legend. The beach where I once met Mika became a reflective spot where people sat for hours, gazing out at the crashing waves, contemplating the costs and rewards of their own dreams. As the story of my life and its dramatic conclusion was shared in music schools, studios, and cafes, it sparked conversations about the seductive power of fame and the importance of maintaining one's essence in the relentless pursuit of success. My story served as both an inspiration and a cautionary tale, a dual reminder that while the pursuit of greatness can elevate one's talents to new heights, it should never come at the expense of one's soul. Educators and mentors used my tale as a foundational lesson for young talents, teaching them that true greatness lies not in the applause or the accolades, but in staying true to one's values and beliefs. Parents recounted my story to their children, instilling in them the value of integrity over fame, character over achievement. The drumsticks, encased in glass, stood not only as a relic of my once tangible existence, but also as a symbol of the double-edged nature of human desires. They reminded everyone who looked upon them that every choice has a weight, every decision a consequence. My legacy, therefore, lived on not just in the echoes of the drums or the whispers of a mermaid's promise, but in the lived experiences of those who walked the path I once did. It encouraged a thoughtful approach to the pursuit of dreams, urging an awareness of the thin line between using one's gifts and being used by them. And so, as generations passed and the world continued to spin, the tale of James, the legendary drummer who once made a deal with a mermaid, remained a beacon. It lit the way for those navigating the complexities of talent, fame, and personal integrity, reminding them that the most important measure of success is not the greatness achieved in the eyes of the world, but the authenticity maintained within oneself.